The much anticipated start of registration for the national identification cards did not happen on Monday, May 28, as advertised by the authority. The National Identification Authority has apologized, blaming the failed start on what it describes as connectivity issues. We'll be hearing from the authority in a bit, but presidential correspondent Elton Brobe was at the presidency of the Jubilee House, which was supposed to have been one of the centers for the exercise, and joins us on the line with how the no-show was received there. Hello, Elton. I can imagine there were a lot of disappointed persons at the presidency today.
Absolutely, Evans, and absolutely easy, and not only for media persons who report from the presidency, but indeed staff of the presidency who were told today that all of them should make themselves ready to go through the registration process. So they were told it was going to be a whole day event. So as and when one is free, the person could just walk in, go through the process, get his or her Ghana card, and then go back to work. So even for the press call, we all got to the Jubilee House very early. 8 a.m. I was there, and some of my colleagues were already there. So we waited for the NIA staff to get in. 10 a.m. no show, 11 a.m. midday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. And then we decided to call it a day. Unfortunately, we left without any official reason why the registration didn't happen. So that's how the day ended for us at the Jubilee House. Easy.
Now, Elton, you're talking about the Jubilee House. This is the presidency. And are you saying that there was no word from the NIA, even to officials of the presidency, about the no-show and why it didn't happen?
No, people I spoke to at the presidency themselves were also trying to get information from the NIA. Later on, we got to know of some technical challenges that they were facing, the reason why they were unable to bring their machines to start the program. But that was late. That was after around 3, 4 p.m. At some point during the day, we were told to get ready at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. came and passed. More information came through. Indeed, even members of the press corps started making calls to people they are familiar with at the National Identification Authority. No official reason came through. Until later that we were told that they were having issues. I must say that one of the presidency got to work, a whole place at the vice president's secretariat had been set up solely for the purpose. Tables had been arranged and everything was set up, awaiting the officials of the NIA to come through with their equipment. At some point when it became clear that they were not going to make it, some calls were placed to the information ministry. They also tried to get information from the NIA. It became difficult. Eventually, without any official word, just a few minutes ago, I monitored the chief executive, and I'm hearing that it was due to technical challenges that they weren't able. But I think that communication from the office to the Jubilee House, the Flagship House, as far as we know, and from the information we gathered, is that it wasn't forthcoming, and people were left in a situation where they didn't know whether it was going to happen or not.
All right. Now, Elton, what had you been advised to do ahead of the exercise? I'm told that you were required to present a number of items. What are some of the things you were supposed to present for the registration to take place? If you could just walk us through that.
So for those who were or who are eligible to go through from the office of the president, remember that when the thing was, the whole Ghana card was launched in September, the president and the vice president had theirs, so they were left out. So apart from the two senior most at the presidency, the chief of staff coming down to the security persons, were all told to present either a passport, birth certificate, a letter with information that one has to also present his tax identification number. That's the thing. It's also a condition for registration. So some who didn't have started going inquiring from the GRA how far they could get it, so they can also go through the registration. When we were inquiring, we also told the same thing to bring these documentation, either a passport, a birth certificate, and you have your TIN number. Those were the conditions that were set in the morning, and I'm told that it's going to be the same condition that will qualify one to go to the registration process.
All right, thank you very much, Elton Brobe. And as I indicated earlier, we will be hearing from the Chief Executive of the National Identification Authority. He has been giving some explanations as to why the process couldn't start, the registration couldn't start today. He blames it on some connectivity issues, but he says that the process has not been scrapped entirely and that it is going to happen. We'll be looking forward to when that will happen. But he has been speaking on that issue, Professor Ken Atefua, and we'll be bringing you his comments immediately that we have it. I'm told that we're ready with his comments on that. So let's listen to the Chief Executive of the National Identification Authority.
And we've been at it since last night. And by this morning, we're hoping that, in the next hour, this will get resolved. And then as the day wore on, the situation wasn't resolved. We have thought that even if it was resolved by 2 o'clock, that we'll get out there. Action speaks louder than words. And so we were not going to issue statements. We got our communications people, corporate affairs people, to speak to the key institutions that we had identified in order to let them know that we're facing challenges. But Evans, we're hopeful that the situation would be addressed, and they never got addressed. And so that's just the plain truth, and I sincerely apologize. This is just a pure technical glitch that has happened on the day, the worst day that you could wish for a technical glitch to happen in your operation. But that's just the plain truth.
So just for clarity, when you say connectivity, is it an internet-based connectivity issue?
Yes, okay.
And because I thought that now we have a lot of 4G service providers who are doing quite great stuff in terms of the speed, but they couldn't help the situation as you had it today.
Yes, Evans. This is pretty trite, right? It's an obvious fact, and so this is something that we have addressed. We even have one of the major telecom providers mounting a mask right here at our premises, in order to facilitate this work. We've dotted our I's and crossed our T's. We've made sure that, things would work well. And for some simply inexplicable reason, we've been disappointed by Treasurer's technology. It's disappointing, but that's just the plain truth. And we're going to continue working at it. I have just a little while ago, before talking to you, reported the matter to other appropriate agencies to see if there is any intervention that may be warranted in helping us resolve the situation.
Another news, government says it cannot immediately give in to demands of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, as it needs time to deliberate and come up with an amicable solution. The medical laboratory scientists Monday morning began withdrawal of services at various health facilities across the country to protest salary discrepancies, which they say have existed for about 6 years. Joy News' visit to some facilities revealed how patients were stranded waiting for hours to be attended to. But speaking to Joy News, Public Relations Officer of the Health Ministry, Robert Kujo, pleaded with the association to rescind its decision as the ministry works to resolve the issues. Nancy Emefachra Dozie has the rest of the story.
They are telling me they are on strike after asking me to come today. So do they want us to die?
That was how frustrated patients who visited the central laboratory at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital felt after they were refused healthcare by laboratory scientists. The patients, mostly pregnant women due for delivery, will have to wait until the laboratory scientists change their minds about the withdrawal of service.
From last week, and I came to the maternity and they asked me to come for the lab and scan. When I came here Thursday, they asked me to come said Monday. When I came, they said they don't work. So I don't know how to do because it's my time.
So basically, I'm seeing that you are due.
Yes, even I can't even do anything because when even it's not easy for me from house to here.
By no say Yambra Friday news me by.
I was asked to come on Friday, but it was a holiday. I'm here today and they are saying they are on strike. So even emergency services are not being attended to. Are they waiting for all of us to die? We are pleading with the government to listen to the lab technicians so that they pay attention to us. It's really painful to be denied treatment when you have the means to pay.
Tia Pabain Chow, on bomb, near Yantimimba Messiah, where I send me one doctor. Metamon Swasso. Within this week, I say, many lab, and for Doctor China.
I've been asked to see a doctor. I'm due to deliver within this week, and the technicians are on strike. If I'm not attended to, the midwives will not help me deliver without a report. I'm really suffering.
Oh, my bread pint to umbrella and no point.
Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the Association, Solomon Kwashi, says the industrial action is the only option to get government to act.
It is sad. Per my personal, personal this is not something I will go for. But it comes to a time that you have to solidarize. It comes to a time that you have to firm and demand for what you want. We have sent the signal. We sent the first signal in January. We thought that they will respond to us. We postponed the action. We are in May, right? May is ending. You can see that there's no commitment.
Meanwhile, Public Relations Officer of the Health Ministry is pleading with the association to rescind its decision as they are unable to immediately resolve the challenges.
For the sake of this nation called Ghana and for the lives of the innocent patients who, without a fault of theirs, will find themselves in this situation, we're pleading with them to at least put an end to their strike. If they can go to work tomorrow, we'll be very happy. Because the minister is ready to engage them further. Now probably bringing all the three interested groups together at a roundtable discussion and then bring finality to this.
The Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists still maintains it will continue its action unabated until government acts on their request. Nancy Emefa Jedosi, Joy News.
In the Upper East region, Joy News checks at the Bolgatanga Regional Hospital show the laboratory closed and deserted by staff. Our Upper East regional correspondent Albert Sorry joins us on the phone with more on the story. Hello, Albert. Describe the situation to us at the time of your visit.
Yes, so we got there this evening between the hours of 5 and 6 p.m. and the whole place was completely deserted. The labs were closed and there was no sign of any patient coming there to asked to do a laboratory test. Now, the checks we have made subsequent to that revealed that earlier today the workers were there at the lab, but initially it was a sit-down strike. What they were doing was that they were sitting there, but they were asking people who came there to do lab tests to go back because they were on strike. And some people who work with private laboratories were taking advantage of the situation to collect samples from people around the lab and go back to their own laboratories to conduct tests for them. But after some time, it appeared that people kept pleading with the people at the hospital lab to do tests for them. And so they decided that they had to close the lab and go home.
All right, thank you very much, Albert Sorry, with that update from the Upper East Regional Capital, Bolgatanga. You're watching Joy News Prime, and we're taking a break. We have more stories coming up. Don't go away. President of policy think tank IMANI Africa, Franklin Kujo, has filed an official complaint with the police over death threats he's received he believes have to do with his criticism of government's revenue assurance contract with Kelny GVG. IMANI wants the contract abrogated because it says it is needless and not in the interest of the nation. FY Evans Chinwe caught up with the IMANI boss after meeting officers at the Accra Region Police Headquarters.
Franklin Kujo this morning filed a complaint at the Accra Regional Police Headquarters after threats on his life. He believes the threats are because of his condemnation of the revenue assurance deal with ICT firm Kelny GVG to monitor revenues in the country's telecom industry. After over an hour's meeting with police officers, Mr. Kujo came out.
Yesterday, I managed to call the regional commander of the service, and then I followed up and came here. But the officer on duty for CID wasn't around, and so we agreed with the ITU, the units in charge of terrorism, to agree that I'll come here this morning, in fact, together with the regional commander. So I came here, met the regional commander, and then they gave a special agent, CID, to take the statement. One chief inspector took the statement, and as protocol demands, we needed to also say hello to a few other police officers, the PRO units, and as well as the other officers within this compound.
He says the next step in this matter is to brief as many people as they can so they can build a solid case.
Next steps, we are actually having meetings with other CSOs and think tank leaders this afternoon, because we don't want this to be just an IMANI-related matter. There have been some calls from within government as well, and we hope to meet again later. But the next steps for us are briefing as many people as we can so that we build a solid case. And then also hopefully that this matter will be solved. Somehow it will be shelved, this contract will be shelved and reviewed by the presidency. Otherwise, if it is not done, as long as it takes, even if it takes 10 years, which is the duration we are paying these people for free, we'll continue to fight it.
President of policy think tank IMANI Africa, Helen Brantier, was on the Super Morning Show earlier Monday explaining why the deal is bad for Ghana.
The definition of real time by the government or by the NCA is something that we need to probe. The reason being that is the real time definition or the real time data they are taking, is it the unencrypted data that comes at the level of abstraction of data at the point when I am calling you Daniel and then it's running into the system, or it comes at the point of billing, at which point it is also unencrypted, or after the billing node, where maybe some parts of consumer data might be obfuscated, and then you can pull out that data. We need to be very clear about what real time means. Okay. But do we really even need real time? And I'm going into the technology. Do we even really need real time? We don't. Let me tell you why we don't need real time. All you need to do is to pull periodic reports on a day or a week or a month.
From who? Periodic reports
from the particular system that you are monitoring. And let me tell you why.
And who gives you that data? Is it the telcos or you get it straight from the system?
So the regulators or the government or those who have been mandated by the Electronic Communications Act 789, I've forgotten the number, are the ones who, if they say that by law they are supposed to do it, nobody has a problem with that. If they say that they have contracted somebody to do that, nobody has a problem with that. But if they say they've contracted Kelny GVG to do that, then some of us as policy watchers and as concerned Ghanaians have a problem. Because Kelny GVG is a company that does not even list any kind of international engineering certification or international engineering accolades. And let me tell you the reason why that is important.
Audit is integrity.
Because it is about integrity. It is about connecting to very secure systems. Up till now, nobody has been able to hack into a telco network. What shows that the introduction of this, and let me tell you something, once you get a SIM card or use a SIM card, it's an agreement between you and the company. It's not an agreement between you and the government.
Derek raised the point.
Yes.
Derek raised that point. Now, you've made your points about your concerns about Kelny GVG as a company. I wanted to hear that alternative you have.
Now, we are talking about a scenario where we've gone to contract Kelny GVG without any assurance of a benchmark figure or target for which we are going to get revenue. As of now, the tax component that is being used for this revenue assurance activity is the $75 million a year CST tax, right? And we are saying that we are going to spend an initial spend of $63 million plus $1.5 million every month. And note that even when the contract is abrogated for any reason, we'll still be paying half of that for no money, for no work done. That is even another thing altogether, which is a governance issue. We are paying all of that to a company which is coming on the suspicion that we may get more taxes. It might, yes, they might put the system in, and maybe there will be some errors in the revenue declaration, and that maybe the trend lines of that might mean that there will be plus or 5%, or maybe plus or 5% more revenue declaration.
But you think this can be done with 55,000?
Yes, I'll get to that. Are you trying to tell me that it is worth spending initial 63 million plus the 89 million plus another 89 million to make the total of about 200 something million on the suspicion that you might get some incremental amount of which figure you do not know? Now, if we said that we had that suspicion of an incremental figure that we do not even know, is this the best technology to use? And is this company's profit system the best system architecture to use? Yes or no? So now, if we now say we are going to use Kelny GVG, we are going to pay them this amount, what kind of technology are they providing when they have no known affiliation with any known international telecom company? In fact, if you look at all the other companies that offer these services, you will see the alliances with big companies like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, SAP, because these are what we call enterprise solutions.
Now, Tuesday, May 29, will mark exactly 1 year since Army Major Maxwell Adam Mahama was lynched by a mob in the central region town of Dencho-Boase. At the time, there were calls for justice immediately to enable the family put the matter behind them. Months on, the case is still at its initial stages at an Accra High Court, with the family of the late soldier expressing concerns over what they call the few people standing trial. As part of our coverage of activities marking 1 year of the soldier's death, we have put together 2 special documentaries on the court case and the situation at Dencho-Boase. Here's an excerpt of the documentary to be aired at 8:30 p.m. tonight.
A man known to be full of life by the many that interacted with him. For his family, he was simply a father, while for the many soldiers who were under his command, he was a true officer and a gentleman. A decorated officer of the 5th Battalion Infantry of the Ghana Armed Forces, Major Maxwell Mahama fought for his life at the hands of the very citizens he had sworn to protect. The captain's last fight remains one brutal episode in his short life that is a scar on the conscience of the nation. It therefore came as no surprise when hundreds thronged the State House to join his family, bid him farewell. It was a solemn moment, tough for the family. For so many of the mourners, the memory of the murder of the soldier played back in their minds as his killers hounded him with stones.
The years ahead will be full of memories, but I wanted more than just memories. It's fine, I'll manage. You wanted us to go all together, but God meets you where you are, because there are too many obstacles and temptations here on earth. You are so safe, I am glad. I love you is not a new word to you, because I love you were always said in our house. This is a lesson to always love wholeheartedly while we have breath. Choose love over strife, quarrels, jealousy, backbiting, etc. What at all do we want in this world that is not our home? I'll safely keep your tithe card and show to the children one day. I'll take good care of them, because this was your wish. I will try and let Jaden have your pistol, because you always said that was your only proper property for Jaden. My dear husband, Justin partner, advisor, teacher, mentor, Maxwell Adam Mahama, rest in perfect peace.
So now that documentary comes up in just about an hour. You'd have to stay tuned for that. Right now, though, we're taking a break to bring you business news.
Hello, good evening, and you're still on Joy News Prime. This is business news. Government says it will still go ahead with the implementation of the new customs management system UNIPASS, despite opposition from some players in the maritime industry. Freight forwarders have registered their displeasure against the move, which is expected to see UNIPASS take over the roles of West Blue Consulting and GCNet.
Some stakeholders have described the move as a desperate attempt by government to kick out West Blue Consulting and GCNet after it earlier offered a 10-year sole source contract to Ghana Link and its overseas partners Kupia Korea Customs Service. This would see the introduction of the new custom management system known as Unipass to take over the single window operations at the port. However, some players in the maritime industry are opposing the move. Speaking to Joy Business after a press conference in Accra, President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabno Fosuapia, said the change was needless and would cost the country.
I know how the present situation is like on the floor, and I can tell you that the present situation, we don't have problem with IT solution. So therefore, you don't want the better alternative, we don't have any value proposition. How do you know there is a better alternative? You have seen applications and processes like this fail in so many places. This is news. It's all over the place. We have seen attempts of this nature fail in so many countries. We can cite Tanzania, we can cite Eritrea, we can cite Ethiopia. Okay.
Government is, however, insisting this new system is important as it will help drive down cost of trade facilitation activities at the ports. Carlos Ahinkwa is Deputy Minister of Trade.
GCNet is taking 0.4% and West Blue is taking 1%. As to who takes what at the back, it's not our business. I am concerned with what the importer has to pay at the front end before he's able to go and clear his goods. It cost him 1.4%. Like I said, take it whether FOB or CIF, and let us make, for the sake of this argument, and let us make progress. Now, we are saying that for the same unit, for the same job, this Unipass is going to charge 0.75%. How much are we saving? We are saving about 0.65%, almost half of what you are paying. And if you listen to my calculation that I did in the room just not too long ago, you would realize that if you have a company such as Irani Brothers, Takrady Flour Mills, or let's say even a clinker company of Gassem, who are bringing vessels in every week and it's large quantities, $30 million, $50 million, and you are paying 1% of that. Calculate that against 0.75 and 0.5% and tell me whether they are the same. So it means that the importer now have excess money to use it for something else. This is not targeted at any particular entity.
Government is yet to announce an official date for introducing the new system, even though it indicates there is no turning back.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has opened the second Africa Leadership Conference aimed at exploring innovative ways to enhance competitiveness within the advertising industry. The Minister of Information, Mustafa Hamid, opened the conference on behalf of the President. There's more in this report.
In a keynote address, Executive Vice President of Unilever Ghana and Nigeria urged local advertisers not to feel intimidated selling the real story of Ghana, even if it portrays unpleasant, terrible situations. He says advertisers should not be pressured to portray the good image of Ghana and turn a blind eye to issues of poverty, slow economic growth, and deprivation. Speaking at the second Africa Leadership Conference in Accra, he noted that good and effective advertising has the potential of boosting investor confidence in the country, no matter how bad the story may be.
It's a funny thing to think about. He is the one that needed to be pitied, not the African people. The African people have always been a part of history. All the peoples of the world have been a part of human history. So what we need to think about, when we see people, the masses of our people, and we do not see the opportunities for advertising to lift society, to improve communities, it is we. We are the people who should be felt sorry for. In our self-importance, we are the people who have lost the connection to our communities and our societies, and for as long as we lose that connection, for just so long, we will become irrelevant. And we will talk about the threats of extinction, not realizing that it is not the world that is changing so fast around us. It is us that constantly are getting disconnected and therefore are becoming more and more irrelevant. In my own personal experience, I am constantly challenging our marketing department in the larger sense of the word. Be out there, go where the people are, go, sit there in the informal settlements, understand the things that motivate people, because the more you do, the more you know how to win in these communities. We spend a lot of time. In my base in Lagos, we call it Niger centricity because I believe in the concept of creative convergence. I don't believe that advertisers can sit by themselves, completely extinct from disconnected from the rest of the creative effort, whether they're fashion design.
On his part, the Minister of Information, who represented the President, Mustafa Hamid, hinted of the full passage of the Advertising Consumers Bill by the end of the year to complement activities of the industry.
It is our expectation that in the next few years, Ghana will have strong human capital to drive its own socio-economic activities and also be in a position to export human resources. I am confident that this will create a firm foundation on which to propel the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda and achieving our destiny as a country. We in Ghana have set the pace, and I encourage my compatriots on the continent to equally implement policies that strengthen the human capital base. Beyond this, my government is implementing policies that will empower the private sector and empower local businesses to be globally competitive. I throw a challenge to you as professionals in communication to partner government to ensure the gains of Ghana Beyond Aid. I throw a challenge to you as professionals in communication to partner government to ensure that the gains of Ghana Beyond Aid can be amplified for the benefits and understanding of all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in doing this that we can establish an African narrative that is more positive. While our human capital is rising to be the best, businesses are also evolving. Evolving because the consumer is also evolving. The early concepts of a hypodermic needle theory, where the consumer was deemed to be passive, now the consumer is more engaging and fluid in his or her decision making. The burden now lies with brands, a call to arms, reinvent or die. And as brand champions and business leaders, you have a distinctive role to play in communicating the renewed and improved prospects of Africa and the new African brand.
The second Africa Leadership Conference is on the theme Evolution of Brands and Consumers, Reinvent or Die.
Energy expert Ishmael Ejekumihini says the shutdown of the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah by Tullow will not have any significant impact on the economy. This is the second time this year that the Jubilee field is being shut down to enable the tariff system on the FPSO to be fixed. Some people have argued these series of shutdowns could be deliberate to influence the amount of taxes to the state, paid to the state. Others also believe the current shutdown could trigger some inflationary pressures and have a negative impact on production. But speaking earlier on the marketplace, Ishmael Ejekumihini rejected these claims, noting the shutdown had already been factored in government's budget.
I don't think it's deliberate. These are well-advertised shutdowns, and we all know where this problem is coming from. It's the tariff bearing that has been faulty, and they've been trying to fix it. And it's been pre-announced, it's been planned that they need to allow these shutdowns for the bearing. You know, they are changing it to a permanent mooring system now. So we knew from last year that these shutdowns are going to happen. So I don't think it's deliberate, and I think it's been factored into the expected revenues from oil production in the year 2018. From what VRA and Greco are telling us, they said there might be minimal interruptions, but I think, like I said, this was known from the beginning. So if you look at VRA's proposal to the PRC, when they were asking for tariffs, they said they were going to import some cargo of crude oil to as a backup in during this shutdown. So ordinarily, I don't expect that to impact the power supply because, again, it's not an unexpected shutdown; it's a planned shutdown.
And that's all we have for you in business tonight. Many thanks for your company. My name is IMANI Africa. Have a good evening.
Deputy Roads Minister Anthony Abaifa Kabo has denied knowledge of claims made by GFA boss Kwesi Nyantakyi in an investigative report by investigative journalist Anasser Miranat. Mr. Nyantakyi, in the expose to be broadcast next month, alleges that the Deputy Roads Minister and the President and his vice will be giving monies ranging between $1 and $5 million to facilitate a deal. Mr. Nyantakyi also claimed that the Deputy Roads Minister is his small boy, and there will be no difficulty in the brokering of the particular deal. After a brief back and forth last week about his invitation to the police, the Deputy Roads Minister finally appeared before the CID to tell the investigative committee what he knows about the alleged fraud case. Here is a lawyer for Anthony Kabo, Gary Numako.
We are not the suspects. We are only more or less what we call witnesses, trying to, because our name was just mentioned. We didn't take part in any conversation. We didn't take part in any communication with anybody. We didn't promise anybody anything. You know, so the name was just mentioned by a third party, more or less a hearsay sort of thing. So we were just there basically to listen to what they say is captured on the tape, and then also give them our version if we have any responses. But clearly, from the what was happening, the police even indicated clearly we had nothing too much to say. There's a few words which we indicated to them. And I must indicate to you that the police were very professional. They conducted themselves very, very well. We also made sure that whatever response they wanted from us, we responded to them as far as we could, as far as we were about or we know about. That is all, basically. About what exactly we know about what has been said. Don't forget that we are not suspects in the matter. We have not been questioned in the matter. We have not made any statement to anybody. It is Mr. Nyantakyi who is now under investigation. So I thought that they shouldn't have been called at this time. But once we have been called, we were under a duty as citizens of responsible nature to go to the police to respond to whatever that we think was within our knowledge. So we have done so, and that is all. The whole thing is that, let me just indicate to you that we have no knowledge at all as to the information or the indication given on the tape. I wouldn't say they aired or they did not air. These are matters that when they come, sometimes they are public interest and public, interest nature. Whether they aired or they didn't air, whilst we believe they acted professionally, today they were very civil. I mean, so we are okay. We are not complaining about anything. We've gone there to tell the police what we know. So that is all.
A 34-year-old former head teacher of the Pieng Basic School in the Sisila East Municipality in the Upper West Region has been sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for defiling a 10-year-old girl of the same school. The head teacher is said to have given the victim 20 Ghana cedis with a warning to keep quiet about the defilement which happened in March last year. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Slam sat through the court proceedings and reports from Wa.
Unlike the previous proceedings, which were done in camera, Monday's sentencing was done in open court. The accused, 34-year-old Weyoga Mumuni, appeared at the court in his usual faded black suit over yellow t-shirt. Throughout the reading of the sentence by Justice Bafosana Japong, the accused wore a frown, occasionally licking his lips while clutching both hands to the dock. Though the victim was warned by Weyogo Mumuni, then a head teacher, not to tell anyone about the defilement, she reported it to one of the female teachers, who then took the case to the police, who caused his arrest. In evaluating the case, the presiding judge, Justice Bafosana Japon, found the accused guilty of the charge of defilement. The 10-year sentence handed the former teacher is with hard labor. Weyogo Mumuni, before leaving the dock, thanked the judge for the sentence, but insisted that he never committed a crime. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
It's promising to be another exciting season. That is the 2018 National Science and Math Quiz. Beginning next week, participating schools across the country will arrive in Accra for the contest. Your station, Joy News, will bring you exclusive coverage of the annual event. This week, we begin with a regional contest, first with the Greater Accra region, where 32 schools battled it out for a slot to the national level. Joy News' Charity Emehil tells what's at the Accra event and as far as this report.
Maths and science is a basic requirement for admission into any tertiary institution, but these are not easy subjects to pass at all. At least that's what many students say. But this annual quiz has helped a lot to improve performance in the subjects.
The lumen of cells. The arteries have a large lumen than the capillaries. The capillaries have it's as simple as that. What is the half-life of a radionuclide whose activity decreases by a factor of 1/8 in 27D? That's correct.
Many secondary schools in the country have taken advantage of the immense benefit of the quiz to train students who eventually represent their schools for the competition. In all, 32 schools competed instead of the initial 33 in the Greater Accra region. So the die was cast for the contest to begin. Be prepared to be wowed by the talents and skills of contestants as they show speed in calculation, accurate delivery and strict focus as they tackle questions. Last year's competition was great. It rekindled the healthy academic rivalry between many of the schools. The 2018 season is expected to be another crunch battle of minds. Watch out, Charity Emehil tells for Joy News.